All right, guys. So, I don't know if you can tell from my voice right now, but my heart is still pounding. I mean, the fight is over. John Jones won the fight. It's all over. But I cannot even lie. My heart is still pounding. And first things first, I'm going to start this thing off by accepting the fact that I took a massive L. I took an L when I said that this was going to be beautiful for John Jones. My anticipation for the fight was that John was going to go in there and be dominant. It looked to me like he took this one seriously. He came in there in very good shape. Weighed in at like 204 pounds. I mean, he was light, lean. You could tell that he had all the conditioning in the world. He took Dominick Reyes very seriously. So, just looking at the build-up, how motivated it seemed that John Jones was, my initial thought was that this was going to be one of his better performances. He was going to go in there, he was going to impose his will, and I actually felt that around round number 3, round number 4, that he was going to take out Dominick, but that is not what happened. That is not what happened, and I'm going to take an L on that one. I was 100% wrong. I also grossly underestimated a specific aspect of John's game that it's been bothering me for a little bit, but now it's very clear that this is a clear weakness. I'm not even talking about his boxing. I mean, it's very clear that there's a huge hole in his game when it comes to his boxing, but if you take a look at all the fights that John has had trouble with, the first one, the very first fight where he got wobbled by Lyoto Machida, it's because he was facing a fighter with extremely good footwork, very good lateral movement, and John Jones was the one pursuing the fight. John was the one pushing the pace, which of course allowed the fighter that's circling and using good lateral movement to counter Jones repeatedly. And one of the ways that Machida was able to counter John Jones effectively was every time Jones goes to throw a roundhouse to the leg, Machida will fire a straight left down the pipe. And that is exactly how he wobbled John Jones. Another fight where Jones had major issues was in his very first fight against Alexander Gustafsson. Another fight against a very fleet-footed, nimble fighter who was using very good lateral movement, circling around the cage, making John Jones chase him. And John was the one that was pursuing the fight, pushing the pace. And in that fight, Jones almost lost. And to a lot of people, they actually believe Jones lost that fight as well. And then another fight, the fight before this one against Thiago Santos, and another opponent who had very good footwork, moving around the cage, able to land leg kicks from the outside. John Jones, the opponent, pushing forward. John also had a very difficult time with that. And now with Dominick Reyes, which before the fight, I mean, if we could give him any props before the fight, we all knew that he was powerful. We knew that he had good footwork. He's a very good southpaw. He knows how to pivot away from danger and counter very well with that left hand. We've seen him demonstrate that a lot of times in his fights in the UFC. So we knew that that was going to be a factor, but I did not anticipate it to be this much of a factor, and it ended up being the same exact thing. Every single time John Jones is the one leading the dance, we see that puts him at a massive disadvantage. Now, of course, a counter to that is when you take a look at the fights where John Jones did his absolute best work. If you take a look at the second fight versus DC, Jones was the one retreating most of the time. DC was pushing forward. That gave John the opportunity to pick his shots. He wasn't the one chasing. He wasn't getting countered as he was coming in. He was the one countering. He was able to use knees. He's way more efficient when he's the one moving backwards. We see the rematch with Alexander Gustafsson with John Jones switching things around, this time letting Gus come to him, and that allowed him to completely pick Gustafsson apart. Gus couldn't box with him at all because John was able to stay in that kicking range, and every time Gus would try to enter boxing range, Jones would counter with a kick. So it's very clear right now, and I kind of knew this going in, but it's very, very clear right now that Jon Jones cannot lead. I mean, he can. We've seen him lead before. We've seen him lead against, guys like Glover, Teixeira. We saw him lead quite a few times against Rashad Evans. But the simple fact of the matter is, when he's leading like that, it's usually, he's pinning guys against the cage. He's getting takedowns. He's grounding him. He's taking him out like that. But if you make Jones completely lead kickboxing wise, we see a massive hole in his game. He gets hit. He gets touched up, especially with leg kicks. This fight, man, in round number one, the way that I can describe my feeling in round number one is just flabbergasted. For the very first time we saw Jon Jones sat down, he got caught. He got caught clean. Now, you know what? I'm not sure. I've watched the fight twice right now. It's still a fog. A vast majority of it is still a fog because, my emotions are all over the freaking place. You guys know how much of a fan I am of Jones. That shot that sat Jon Jones down, it shook me. It really did. I couldn't believe it. I also couldn't believe how quickly he got back up to his feet. Round number one, clearly a round for Dominick Reyes. I scored that round for Dominick, hands down. Round number two was very close. It was very close, but that round I scored for Jones. I felt like Jones was more efficient in that round. The first time I watched the fight with the commentary, listening to Joe Rogan and the crowd and everyone go crazy with every flurry that Dominick does, you kind of get a skewed perception or perspective of what happened. And rewatching the fight with the commentary turned off and just using my eyes, I start to see that a lot of those shots were misses. Go watch it back yourself. A lot of those flurries in round number two that look like, they land. Now, Dominick did land. He landed shots in round number two. But I felt like Jones was more efficient in that round. Of course, he also had the pressure in the round. And when the striking is very clear, if we're going to go by the new rules, if the kickboxing is not clear, if the kickboxing is close, then you give the edge to the fighter with the octagon control. That's usually how it goes. Octagon control does not come into question at all unless grappling and striking is very close. So if kickboxing is very close, whoever has octagon control, you give the edge. So I gave the edge to Jones in round number two. Round number three, I gave that round to Dominick Reyes. Hands down, he won that round. And after round number three, personally, I started to calm down a little bit because I could see, and again, this is coming from the perspective of a Jon Jones fan. Just understand where I'm coming from here. In round number three, again, if you're watching me for the first time, whenever there's an event like this, I try to just get on the microphone and ramble and just give you guys my raw thoughts, exactly what is in my head, no script. So if I sound completely retarded right now, understand that it's because I'm just blurting out whatever comes into my mind. Just keep that in mind. Anyways, round number three, I gave that round to Dominick Reyes, but as the round was coming to an end, I was getting calmer a little bit because I could see Dominick was slowing down. His footwork was still absolutely incredible. I mean, he maintained a just very, very Alexander Gustafsson-esque with the footwork. Just constant lateral movement, back and forth, never standing still, which, of course, if you freeze in front of Jones, if you stand in front of Jones, he picks you apart easy. But he never did that. Kept moving, even in round number three. Even with all the shots he was throwing, he still had the energy to do that, which is a massive props to Dominick for that. So round number three, I gave that round to him. But in round number four, I start to see things swing for the champion, which is what usually happens when you're facing Jones. If you're going to get Jon Jones, you want to get Jon Jones early. You also want to make sure that you handily win at least the first three rounds, because round number four and round number five almost certainly is going to be won by Jon Jones. No one wins rounds number 4 and 5 when they're facing Jones, and that's exactly what we saw. Round number 4, clearly a Jon Jones round. Round number 5, Jon Jones completely dominated that round as well. Of course, not dominated in the sense that He wasn't hit at all, but you get my point. He won the round pretty clearly. No one's going to say that it was a close round. He won round number 5 and round number 4. So if you're judging the fight, I feel like the round in question, the round where there's controversy, is going to be round number 2. Round number 1, we're 100% clear, was won by Dominick Reyes. Round number 3, 100% won by Dominick Reyes. Round number 4 and 5, Jon Jones. It's round number 2. That's the deciding round. And I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. Go rewatch the fight. Turn off the commentary. Use just your eyes. And see what you see. Because I've watched it twice. And I scored that second round for Jones. All of that said, this is still an L. This is still a massive L. Even though Jones walked out of the octagon with his belt, this is still an L. An L in the sense that, you expect more out of Jones because he can do more. He definitely can do more. I feel like he came in there with the wrong tactic. Definitely came in there with the wrong tactic. I don't know why they made the mistake of pushing forward. It's still kind of shocking to me. A man with that kind of fight IQ, I feel like he should have noticed this in himself, that he's not the best when he's pushing forward. And all of his close fights have had that one thing in common. He's the guy pushing forward. And the opponent just circling, running around the octagon is able to build up points by just hitting them from the outside. I feel like if they were to rematch, this is going to be something Jones is going to amend. Of course, let's not forget the takedowns. The takedowns were pretty dope in this fight. He was able to take down Dominick Reyes quite a few times. But again, as much as he was able to take down Dominick, what about Dominick's ability to get back to his feet? I mean, that's something that we all knew that he was very good at. We saw him demonstrate that against OSP. We saw him demonstrate that against Volkan. We've seen him demonstrate that numerous times. He's not a man that you can take down and just hold down. He pops right back up, and he demonstrated that again against Jones. So all around, what I can say about the fight is that this was a showcase fight for Dominick Reyes. We didn't really see anything new from Jones. We saw Jon Jones barely get through. We saw him almost lose again. But this was a showcase fight for Dominick Reyes. This was a fight where we really got to see what Dominick looks like against an elite level fighter. I mean, we've seen him fight, OSP, Volkan, but we now know that he rises to the occasion. And if this man can fix his stamina, up his conditioning, we're looking at a possible future light heavyweight champion. We truly are. So, showcase fight for Dominick. I don't feel like this is anything to hang his head over. The fight could have gone either way. If they would have scored it for Dominick Reyes, I would not come in here angry. I would not at all. I mean, I'd be sad because Jones lost, but I would not be screaming. Ooh, excuse me. I would not be screaming robbery. I would not be telling you guys, oh, Dominick Reyes got robbed. But I am very, it's hard to describe, man. Like I said, heart still pounding. It will take me a little bit of time to just digest everything. And the realization that, man, is it possible that Jones is truly on a downward spiral? Like, is this a possibility? Like, I haven't allowed myself to accept that, but it feels like that might be the case. I don't know. I mean, there's a history of Jones struggling with a fighter the first time. They rematch, he completely blows him out the water. It's always a possibility. I'd love to see him rematch Thiago Santos. I'd love to see him rematch Dominick Reyes. But man, this one's tough. This one's definitely tough. Speaking of tough, Jones and his chin. How underrated is that? How underrated is that chin? Anyways, I'm going to ramble forever if I don't stop right here. I know a lot of you in the comment section will be screaming robbery. I'm not going to argue with you. I really won't. I feel like, again, if it would have been scored for Dominick Reyes, I would not disagree with that, because that round number 2 was ridiculously close. It was super fucking close. So if you think Reyes won, okay. I think Jones did enough to win the fight. But if you think Reyes won, let me know in the comment section why you feel like he won the second round. Have you rewatched the fight, or are you just basing it off the first time you watched it? And let me know your thoughts in the comment section about the fight, and we'll go from there. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to make another video talking about this. Probably, maybe not. I don't know. I'll need to rewatch it again and see if my mind changes. And I promise you guys, if my mind changes and I think Dominick won this thing, I'll tell you. But I think Jones got the win. I really do think he got the win. I think he did enough to win in that second round. But I'm going to end it right here. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed my rambling, leave a like. If not, leave a dislike, whatever. Comment in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. As always, stay safe. Have a wonderful day.
And he switches to southpaw here yet again.
Oh, beautiful kick to the body.
Well, some have gotten through, Joe. This shot is blocked. Oh, he left his head wide open to absorb that straight hand. He has shown a vulnerability here by leaning in right into his opponent's range. Nice spinning attack there, and able to land to the body.
That one hurt.
Oh! Big shots exchanged in the pocket there. Nice liver shot range. Round 2 straight ahead. Oh, huge body shot. Both was into the body just at the end of